Next Wednesday on Sistas.
As long as you're getting counseling.
And you too.
What? Why do I need counseling?
With only 2 episodes left.
I was mad. About what? You were in there with a man and I was trying to figure out why it wasn't me.
It's decision time.
Andi, we need to talk to you. After all the hell he's put you through, you're still going to be with him?
And there's no easy way out.
Zach, I haven't felt this way in a long time. I want you to stay with me.
What's up, guys? I'm Crystal Lee Naomi, aka Jasmine Borders on Tyler Perry's Sisters. Be sure to subscribe to the Haves and the Have-Nots review for not only reviews on the Haves and the Have-Nots, but also on Sisters. And while you're at it, give your girl a follow on Instagram at Crystal Lee Naomi. And I'll see you every Wednesday at 9, only on BET.
All right, Sisters fans, you just saw the trailer for next week. That is the penultimate episode, episode 21, entitled Where the Heart Is, airing March 24th. So before moving forward in the video, make sure you give it a thumbs up to show you like it. Hit the bell notification icon and select all. That way you don't miss out whenever I post new content to the channel. Subscribe to help me reach 200,000 subscribers. And follow me on social media. Links are in the description below. I posted about this and I'll mention it in my previous videos. Just thank you all so much. Slowly but surely, we are increasing the amount of people who watch the content who are subscribed. Currently, we're at around 32%. I'm trying to hit 40% by the end of the month. So let's get into it. Where the Heart Is. Karen struggles with her feelings for Zach. Gary reluctantly agrees to get counseling. Fatima senses hidden fears from Zach. Yeah, this episode, this week's episode certainly brought about conversation and talking points, mainly on the Karen, Zach, Fatima side, as well as the Andi and Jasmine and Gary side. But to get into the trailer itself, you know, Andi's telling Gary, well, yeah, as long as you get counseling, because remember towards the end of the last episode, she was like, well, I ain't moving no country. I ain't having kids right away. And I am not giving up my career. So I guess we're kind of continuing the conversation of, okay, if we're talking about engagement and marriage, here are some conditions that I want to make sure that you are clear that I'm not faltering on. So when she brings up counseling, he says, yeah, as long as you get counseling as well. Whoa, why do I need counseling? I'm probably going to do a separate video on that, but I'm no expert in this because obviously I've never been married or engaged or in a long-term relationship, so I don't know the ins and outs of marriage counseling. I mean, born in 91, so watching a lot of TV shows like, you know, Martin or Living Single and so many other examples, it wasn't uncommon to see that two characters eventually got engaged and then eventually shenanigans ensued when they would eventually go to couple/marital counseling, and then from there eventually get married. Now, I don't know if counseling is something that, you know, is kind of dependent on your religion, because in most Christian couples I know of, they got counseling prior to getting married. But like I said, it's 2021. I don't know. But all I got to say is, I think it would be a benefit because Andi just seems like one of the, what can I say that hasn't already been said before? Andi just thinks she's better than everyone else. Like, she's perfect. I mean, she recognizes that she has flaws. What I mean by that is when she claims that maybe I don't deserve better. Maybe I'm in this situation with Gary because, you know, this is my, like, penance, my consequence for messing around with a married man. Basically, she's settling. That's literally what she's doing. They're just so, again, I'll do a full video on that, but I think she definitely does need counseling. I don't think she has the same issues that Gary does, but at the same time, she definitely has issues. All right, so speaking of Andi and Gary, the girls actually come over to her place while Gary's on the couch, so they probably get him to leave, and Andi's just, you know, perched up, and she's all happy, and she's like, and Sabrina's like, wait, you're going to be with him after everything he put you through. I love how Danny's just sitting there like, well, I told y'all this shit won't going to work. And then Karen's looking all bothered on the end of the couch, and then Andi looks over, I know what's wrong with her. It's Zach. And I'm like, oh, damn. Because actually in the trailer, we see those two kissing, and I'm like, oh God. I mean, they're actually dressed, so I don't know if Aaron storms off or what. But speaking of Zach, he's at the house working, because remember, he did say to Danny that after I finish both my jobs, I want to go over there and tell her what's what. So basically at the airport, then working at the house, and then he'll go over to Karen's. But evidently that's not what he did. It seems that as soon as his shift at the airport was over, he went to the salon. And then after he did what he did with Karen, he's going to the house to work on it. Then Fatima shows up and pretty much says like, hey, I've never felt the way I felt being with you, and I love having you around. And she pulls out a key and wants him to stay with her. And I'm like, oh my gosh. This is like the equivalent. Well, obviously it's next level, but I know the analogy. I always used it after I graduated from college. It's like when you're waiting on something for so long, but then you just give up. And then as soon as you decide to give up, that's when something happens. Perfect example. Waiting on one of the campus buses at the bus stop. Like, let's say I'm at the DeMoss Hall building trying to get back to my dorm. It's like, okay, the bus schedule is like every 10 minutes. It's been like 15. Screw it. I'm going to walk away. And then as soon as I walk away, when I'm across the parking lot from the bus stop, that's when the bus shows up. And I'm like, well, damn, now I got to continue to walk. So it's like, if I would have just waited a little bit longer. I mean, it just reminds me of the Bible when Abraham and Sarah, yeah, because at that time their names were changed. When God promised a child, and Sarah was like, I'm too old. So she actually concocted her own plan to get a son through her Egyptian slave servant Hagar. And then Abraham and her had sex, and then that's how Ishmael was born. And then eventually she had Isaac. And then we all know the big, religious war that happened between the two sons over the lands of Israel. So basically what I'm getting at is the fact that more often than not, when God has something promised to us or a grander plan than we have, when we decide to act on our own instincts, we actually ruin a good thing. Hence what Zach did with Fatima. Now, I'm probably going to use the same analogy when I do my Zach and Fatima video, but, that's another video in itself. But it's just a damn shame. I mean, if Karen and Zach get back together... Okay, I'm sorry for that. So finally, this is the least interesting scene of the trailer for me. Maurice is telling Calvin, I think he's ironing clothes or whatever. He's just, he's just too through. He had a long ass day. So Maurice is telling Calvin, I was mad about what? That you were in there with another man, and I was wondering why it wasn't me. I don't know if this is like Maurice trying to joke around, because I'm not saying Maurice isn't funny. It's just that none of his jokes were landing with Calvin or Maurice in the last step. Calvin or Sabrina in the last episode. So at this moment, it's difficult for me to fathom whether or not Maurice is actually being serious when he's telling Calvin that, versus if he's just trying to lighten the mood. But I don't think that's a good thing, because Calvin is just pissed off that the narrative of him being in bed all, with a man all night like that probably isn't the best thing to do. So I'm actually going to go out on a limb here and say that Maurice probably was quote unquote mad and was wondering why he wasn't in there with Calvin when he thought it was Calvin instead of a Q. But of course we know Bootsy was in there, but whatever. So in any case, typically, you know how it is. The penultimate episode is better than the finale. I know, what was it last season? What was it called? A Bad Feeling. One of my favorite episodes of season 1. That was episode 23, right before 24, The Long Road. So maybe this episode will be good, Where the Heart Is, but I'm not 100% sure. We'll just have to wait and see. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below on the trailer for next week's episode, Where the Heart Is, airing March 24th. And with that being said, if you would like to donate, feel free to do so on PayPal or Cash App. And like I said before, please like and subscribe. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I'll talk to you next time.